Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Roy Chazut and I'm the head of marketing at iRiver. I believe that many of you that join us today are considering or already using a multi-CDN environment for your business. For many years, we have witnesses the growing adoptions of multi-CDN solution. Over the years, we mainly saw enterprises building their own multi-CDN solution, spending millions of dollars on maintenance. And we believe that multi-CDN should be commoditized and accessible for everyone. And this is the reason why we decided to having this webinar, to give you the knowledge and share with you how to make it right, and also build a multi-CDN solution that meets your business needs. I'm not the one that providing the answer. I'm the one that asking the question. So I would like to introduce you to two of my colleagues. The first one is Edward Sinovoy, which is the CEO of iRiver and ex-Akamai Director of Software Engineering, the guy who led the edge computing technology at Akamai. And next to him, we have Michael Hakimi, iRiver CTO, which is also an ex-Akamai senior engineering manager and has a lot of knowledge and experience with CDN performance. So thank you for joining us today, guys. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having us with you.
Okay, so I would like to start with the first question. I would like to point this question to Mickey. Mickey, what does it mean to work in a multi-CDN architecture?
Hi everyone. It's an interesting question because I've been talking with different customers, and some of them they mentioned that they are already working in multi-CDN architecture, but when we did a drill down, we discovered that it's not really the case. We discovered that in some cases, they are just you're using one CDN for part of the traffic and other CDN for another part of the traffic. There are cases where they have some configuration. They are using one CDN and they have other configuration with similar configuration with other CDN, but basically it is not being used. So they don't really know that this is their solution is working well. So in my opinion, this is not a real CDN architecture. Real CDN architecture is the ability to run the exact same traffic on multiple CDNs at any given moment. And this is my definition for a multi-CDN architecture.
Okay, so in the way that you see that, it's not a range of different kinds or different types of architecture of multi-CDN. Multi-CDN should have the ability to seamlessly manage multiple CDN as like a single entity.
Yes, right? You would like to have the ability to steer the same traffic between multiple CDN providers at any given moment in time, and to do it seamlessly.
Yeah. Okay. It's a really good point, since we see a lot of different clients that knowing to creating a multi-CDN and steering and split static traffic between multiple CDN, but when it's coming to dynamic traffic, it's a little bit more complex, and then they don't have the redundant. Okay, so I would like to continue with you with another question. From your perspective, what is the motivation behind adopting a multi-CDN strategy in the way that you see that?
Yeah, so the different online service providers, they have different needs, and they have different reasons for adopting a multi-CDN architecture. But if we try to kind of describe in a high level, there are three main reasons for adopting this type of technology. First one is availability. Many service providers do not want to rely on a single vendor. They want to be able to move traffic very fast in case vendor is having issues. Second reason is performance. There is no such thing as best performing CDN. Each CDN performs different performance based on geolocation and also based on the current load that it is serving. So if you want to achieve optimized performance, you need to use multiple CDNs and pick the best performing in each geolocation. And the third one is cost. That cost is a significant aspect during these days, and some online service providers are looking to reduce cost by adopting additional providers. The cost between providers is very different. It also changes based on geolocation. So you can use in specific geolocations a cheaper CDN, in other geolocations another CDN. You have the flexibility to optimize your cost.
Do you also think that different industries utilize multi-CDN for different advantages?
Yes, exactly. So for example, if we will take gaming industry, so they are mostly looking for performance improvements, performance optimization. This is, I think, their main goal. If we look at, for example, at media, specifically video delivery, then there, because of the high volume of the traffic, so cost becomes a significant aspect, and cost is a significant incentive for them. If we look at companies like SaaS providers, e-commerce, they probably will be looking mostly for high availability.
Okay, good to know.
Additional one
yes.
point. I think, Mickey, that beside the availability, performance, and cost, the flexibility that multi-CDN architecture provides to the customers is very significant, because finally, when you are working with multiple vendors, you have the flexibility to choose the right vendor for the right need from a traffic type perspective, from geolocation perspective, and also the flexibility to switch between them is a power that, based on my conversation with customers, is very appreciated, even beside the clear benefits of performance, availability, and cost.
When you're speaking about flexibility, can you just sharpen this point? Like, what exactly that is talking about?
Flexibility to choose which vendors serving your traffic, the flexibility to migrate from vendor to vendor, and the flexibility to adjust the different traffic types, different geolocations, different portions of traffic to different vendors to achieve best performance, best availability, and best and most cost-efficient solution for your service.
Okay, that's good. I will add on top of that. I guess that also flexibility give you the ability to break from vendor lock-in. Am I right?
True. When you are working with more than one vendor, you're actually not locked in one of the vendors, and you have a power when it's coming to prices and negotiations, and the ability to leverage different capabilities from different platforms to achieve the best solution for what you need.
Okay. I will continue with you, Edward. I have a question for you. Is multi-CDN is recommended to everyone, or we should, and who should avoid it?
So general multi-CDN approach is a great approach. This is definitely a right approach. We see more and more enterprises adopting this approach. It started from video streaming vertical, but then we see leaders in e-commerce vertical. We see leaders in in gaming verticals are moving and adopting multi-CDN. But multi-CDN is not the solution for everyone. So if you're an online service which is providing a limited amount of traffic, or your audiences are very local in specific geolocation, or the CDN is not on the critical path of your business, then there is a question whether you really need to adopt and leverage the multi-CDN approach, and whether it's really critical for your business. If your online service is on your critical path for your business, if you have a lot of audiences global-wide around the world, definitely multi-CDN probably is the right approach. Otherwise, you should think about it again.
When you say critical path, can you elaborate on top of that, just to better understanding this point?
Sure. If your revenue, basically as a company, is dependent on the availability of this service or on the functionality of this service, then your CDN is on the critical path of your service. If your website is not on the critical path for your revenue stream, then it's a non-critical path, and probably in these cases, you might avoid from adopting multi-CDN approach.
Okay, so I just sum it up. So you said if your guys like your business it's on the critical path, means that you are highly rely on CDN, so then you definitely should consider an approach of a multi-CDN and to see how you can elaborate this environment for your business needs. And definitely multi-CDN, as we mentioned in the last point, gives you much more flexibility to utilize this environment to gain the best that you need in case of availability, cost, performance, and so on. So another question to you, Mickey, okay, let's say that I want to build my own multi-CDN solution. How this process looks like?
So the first thing that you probably want to start with is to select the set of CDNs that you would like to work with. If you are switching to multi-CDN architecture, then I assume that you have a CDN, some CDN that it is currently serving your traffic, and I guess that you are using some set of capabilities provided by this CDN vendor, and the different CDNs, they all provide a different set of capabilities. So you probably want to review the capabilities that you are currently using within your existing CDN, and make sure that the other CDN that you are choosing has support for this set of capabilities. We all know, for example, that in Akamai there is like endless list of features that they provide as part of their CDN. And not all the CDN support this huge set of capabilities. So if you're using some specific capability that is not provided by the second CDN, you will probably need to find a workaround for that. So the capabilities is one aspect. Another one is the geolocation distribution. You should review your traffic, your existing customers, where they are located, where you are serving traffic, from which geos are the strongest ones for you, and you should pick a CDN which provides a very good performance and availability in these geos, and also probably prices if you're looking for a reduced price. So you would like to focus on prices within these geolocations. So you need to combine all these aspects in order to select the candidates, the set of candidates, the set of CDNs that you are qualifying your needs.
Okay. So you're speaking about geo-distribution capabilities and choosing also a set of CDN that is relevant for your business needs. Right. One of your guys can also tell me, like, how do I choose the candidates? Because I guess this is also the tricky part.
Finally, like Mickey explained, you have the industry includes many different vendors. You should prioritize the vendors that you want to become your candidates based on their feature sets, geo-distribution, and metrics, which are important for you in performance and availability aspects. Finally, after having this list of candidates, you would like to take a short list and do a POC with them in order to decide with which CDNs you really want to build your multi-CDN solution.
Okay. So I need to POC them and compare the different metrics to see which of one is meeting my business KPI in the best way. Did I get it right?
True. Additional to having the ability to really migrate the functionality, to be able to implement your functionality on each one of the CDNs. After you implemented this functionality on the CDNs, and you have a traffic that you can try and the route through the CDN, you have the ability to compare and see that it's really behave as you're expecting from KPIs perspective, like performance, availability, and error rates, and other offloading and other KPIs which related to CDN.
And I guess that a tool that also allows you to compare those CDN in a great way.
So today, again, today there are different, there are different tools that you can use to kind of achieve it. One of them will be definitely you can open the dashboards of each one of the CDNs and try to compare it manually. It's possible. It's something. In some cases, it will be challenging because each one of the CDNs provide different information in different granularity, and sometimes even different KPIs that they are using to represent same logical aspects. You can also try to use logs. You can use their logs in order to build your own dashboards. Of course, each one of them coming with different format, but you might overcome it with solutions like hydraulics, for example, which will normalize the logs for you and help you to build the dashboards, which might help you with that. And finally, you can have your Grafana, let's say, dashboard that allow you to put different CDNs on kind of a single graph, but it's definitely challenging. For a system out of the box that providing you unified monitoring, again, definitely iRiver providing that. I'm not familiar with other at this point with other system that can do it for you out of the box.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so I would like to point the next question to Mickey, and the question is, how do you start the actual building of the multi-CDN solution, or in other words, what are the main building blocks that combine a multi-CDN solution?
You're giving me all the hard questions.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah, so it's not easy to build a multi-CDN solution. There are many aspects that you need to take into account. But if I want to, in a high level to divide it, I can think of three main components that should be included in your solution. And the first one is the steering, the traffic steering. So you basically need to have the ability to distribute traffic between multiple CDNs. You need one user to be directed to CDN A and another user to be directed to CDN B. This is the first component. The second one is the management. You need to to configure, manage multiple CDNs from configuration perspective. We know that some online service providers have relatively complicated configuration, so you need to be able to manage that on multiple providers. And the third aspect, the third component is monitoring. So in monitoring, you need to be able to monitor your service, monitor your traffic. If you are working with one CDN, then you need to monitor one platform. But if you are working with multiple CDNs, so now you need to be able to monitor multiple platforms and to see the big picture of your service. To monitor all the metrics that the CDN provides.
Okay. One question that I got a few weeks ago related to the management part is the situation when you have two CDNs that doesn't build in the same way. So for example, one CDN is capable of doing one thing when the other doesn't have this configuration. How can we bridge those functionality gaps?
So until recently, you basically could not do it. If one CDN doesn't have the capabilities, then you are kind of stuck and need to find a workaround in order to avoid this capability. During recent years, CDNs introduced edge computing capabilities to their platforms. All the major CDNs provide this ability. So if some feature is missing, you might be able to complete it using edge compute.
Okay, so this is basically the, what would I say, epiphany, like the only option in case the CDNs have edge computing to bridge those gaps. Thank you for that.
Yes.
I would like to address that next question to you, Eddie. Let's dive into the steering part. How do you split the traffic between different CDN? How it's working?
So there are different methods to achieve it. Basically, the most common one is based on the DNS. You see there are DNS providers today which allows you to steer the traffic differently in each one of the geolocations. So you might use these DNS capabilities in order to split the traffic between different CDNs. Of course, you will need to configure online how you want to split this traffic. And in order to do it, you will need to have a comprehensive monitoring from availability and performance perspective. For this, I definitely will recommend to use synthetic monitoring tools like Catchpoint and other systems which allow you to achieve a pretty good synthetic testing and get a good visibility for your performance. On top of that, of course, leverage RAM systems like Sedexis that we had in the past, NS1 Pulsar that we had, video streaming related RAM tools like Conviva or Max, in order to get the visibility to your real users from performance availability perspective. Then you want to combine these inputs online in order to configure your steering in each one of the geolocations. Beside DNS, there are also different client-side capabilities, SDKs, that allowed you to manipulate how to route the traffic between the different CDNs. These integrations are a little bit more complicated, a little bit more intrusive inside your flow, and therefore they are a little bit less common compared to a DNS steering which is done today. Of course, when you are doing a steering, when you are managing the traffic split, it's important also to implement failover capabilities. So when from availability perspective or from performance perspective, there's significant downgrade, you want automatically to shift the traffic to another vendor. And of course, after the downtime in specific geolocation is over, you want to return the traffic based on your considerations, business and performance considerations.
For those who are not that familiar with the differences in monitoring, what is like the main differences between synthetic monitoring to dynamic monitoring?
So synthetic monitoring allows you, it's actually hundreds of agents around the world which monitor synthetically your website or your service. The advantage of this monitoring is that it's constant, it's proactive, it's monitor even if you don't have any users, and allow you to detect, and it's consistent. So it's doesn't depend on whether you are inside some tunnel or your customers currently on the fly. So synthetic monitoring is great to identify availability problems, is great to have a baseline from performance perspective. From other side, RAM is a real user monitoring. RAM based on the experience of your customers, what really your customers experience from performance perspective. The metrics and the measurements are taken from the devices and from the client side of your clients and reported to centralized location. And as a result of that, this information really represents what your customer experiencing. And therefore, there is a huge advantage for that. With RAM, you might get much better, geographical coverage, a much more accurate user experience of your real users and not synthetic testing agents, which trying to mimic the end users. But from other side, their information is much more noisy. And the ability to react on top of that is probably a little bit slower compared to the synthetic testing. And therefore, I will definitely recommend to combine them together. You want to have both of them in order to enjoy from the advantages of each one of them as part of your steering mechanism that you are building.
So yeah, so exactly what I wanted to say. So it's very critical to combine both of them to get a better, let's say, better decision making when it's come to performance, to have like the entire picture, and also to measure in multiple regions over the world, right, to get the full picture. Did I get it right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so we'll address this one to Mickey. The question is, let's say that we split the traffic, everything is working fine, but now we need to manage the chosen CDN from configuration perspective. How does it work? We don't hear you.
Sorry.
Okay.
Right. So you basically need to configure all the CDNs that you have, all the CDNs that you decided to go with the same configuration. It sounds simple, but it's not a simple job because as mentioned previously, the configuration is very different between different CDNs. Some capabilities are not supported, and some capabilities are supported, but there are different ways that the CDNs provide them, so you need to define it in a different way. Some of the CDNs provide different default capabilities. So even if the other CDNs they have, they support the set of capabilities that you are using, but they have kind of different default behavior. So you also need to define configuration for things that you didn't have in the original CDN. So you need to invest some work in order to make the set of CDNs aligned constantly aligned. So, the end users will have the exact same experience no matter which CDN is serving the traffic. Also, as part of the configuration, you need to manage the certificates. So you need to manage to deploy the same certificates on all of the CDN providers. I don't think there is an online service provider, a DevOps administrator who didn't have an issue with certificate during his experience of work. Everyone, paying a lot of attention to certificates, but still errors resulting from certificates always happened. And if you're using multiple CDNs, the chances are higher. Also, if you are managing the configuration, via Terraform, so you basically need to duplicate your Terraform code to translate it to the second CDN provider, Terraform provider, and to maintain, different versions of the Terraform configuration. And similar to API, if you are using some of the APIs of the CDNs, of the original CDNs, you will need to find the alternatives on the other CDNs, especially, most commonly used APIs for purging. So if you are using a purge API as part of your CI/CD or deployments, then you would need to do a similar thing for the other CDNs. And one important thing that you need to take into account, that it's not a one-time effort. You're investing some time doing the initial configuration, but configuration is something which is live, and you need to modify it from time to time. So it's something which is kind of an ongoing effort to maintain this configuration and keep it aligned, especially when different teams are working on it.
No, it's fascinating. We're speaking about this topic over 35 minutes. And according to different statistics over the internet, it seems that many people don't build multi-CDNs since it's very costly, consuming, and it's needs some experience and then some knowledge to build something like that. And it does shed some light on the topic, which I think that it's very critical to the people that have been joining us for this webinar. Next question is about monitoring. I would like to address it to you, Edward. Should I use the dashboard of the CDN providers? Should I build something by my own? What is the best practice for this kind of issue?
So like I mentioned before that, you can use dashboards of your providers. It's possible, but it's very difficult really to monitor and compare data. You probably need to build your own dashboards based on logs, based on the APIs that the CDN provides, and have some unified visibility for that. It's definitely effort, but it's very critical when you're managing multi-CDN. Without having a appropriate visibility for your CDNs and how they are performing together, I would think twice if to implement this strategy without having that.
Okay. If I'm relying on the logs, what should I do?
So you should normalize your logs. They are coming with different formats. You should normalize them or by yourself or by use third-party tools like Hydraulics, for example, which allow you to store the normalized logs from CDNs and things like that. But you must normalize the logs. If you are utilizing your logs for billing or for troubleshooting perspective, you must be able to see and analyze all the logs from all the different CDNs.
I see. So we take care of the steering, we take care of the dashboard, we take care of the configuration. But now there is one more part which is also very critical, which is the application services like security and edge compute. Is there any way to integrate those applications in my multi-CDN infrastructure? I would like to address it to you, Miki.
Again, Roy, sorry, what was the question?
So the question is, after we're taking care of all the different components, now we still have need to deal with the application services like security services and edge computing.
Yes, so unfortunately, Roy, for this part of the CDN, there isn't any good solution. Let's take WAF, for example. So if we take WAF and we enable WAF on CDN A and we enable WAF on CDN B, we will never get a consistent behavior for the traffic because these WAFs are different. No matter how how we tweak them, do some custom rules, custom things in order to bypass some of their internal rules, it will never be the same. It will be very hard to get a consistent behavior. Be very hard to maintain and to troubleshoot issues with that configuration. So I would not recommend going this way. One option is to remove this capability from the CDN and put it, for example, the origin. So for example, you can use WAF, which is provided by the cloud, by your cloud provider. Put it after the CDN, and this is one option. It's less optimal because you do want to have these type of services at the edge. There is an advantage of having these type of services at the edge, but there is no good solution today which provides these capabilities. The only solution that I'm familiar today is provided by iRiver. With iRiver, we provide a consistent WAF, consistent load balancer, edge computing, global rate limiting across different CDNs, and we are able to do that by leveraging the edge compute capabilities provided by these CDNs. So with iRiver, you can get a consistent WAF, which is deployed at the edge. You can enjoy the set of capabilities provided by the CDNs at the edge. So these are the options that you have.
So for those who are more sensitive or the need of handling dynamic traffic, this is definitely the answer. Edward, what's the effort in building a multi-CDN solution? I'm sure that it's coming also with some risks. What are the risks and how we can prevent them?
Definitely, there are risks to adopt and to adopt multi-CDN. It's in many cases it sounds easy when you are thinking about you're using one CDN, now let's use two CDNs. You have probably one person that in his part-time managing his CDN, so now he will have a little bit more work and you will move to multi-CDN. The reality is that it's complicated. There are many things that you should handle. There are many things that working out of the box when you're using single CDN and simply broken when you start to use multi-CDN, you should overcome it by yourself. So the first risk from my perspective is underestimated the complexity of this kind of project. And therefore you will find yourself that you invest more and more resources, not only to build this kind of solution, but ongoing to maintain and operate in a multi-CDN architecture. The second risk is the misfunctionality. You are using so many things and rely on so many capabilities, and even in some cases, hidden capabilities and things that you're even not aware to on your CDN. And now when you're putting different CDNs, which behaves differently, their defaults are different, you might find a misfunctionality. You might find that some CDN is out of the box, behave different than other CDN, and you will need to overcome over time this kind of differences. And the last one is back into monitoring is a troubleshooting. When you have a single CDN and you have a problem in the CDN, you have only one CDN to blame. When now you are splitting the traffic and you have a problem, first of all, this problem might be not consistent because part of the traffic is working correct, part of the traffic is incorrect. It depends through which CDN the traffic was routed. And the entire troubleshooting journey, if you don't have the right monitoring in place, the right logging capabilities in place, become a very complicated and risky. So my suggestion to the people that want to build multi-CDN solution is, first of all, it's definitely the right thing to do. Is in spite of the complexity, the benefits of that are huge. This is if your online service depends on CDN, you should build multi-CDN solution. You should go to this direction. The benefits are significant, but it's not easy task. You should take it seriously. You should invest the right resources to build such solution. And finally, it will pay back. From cost perspective, from performance perspective, from flexibility perspective. But it's a serious project. Don't take it as a side project that will be done by a single DevOps person.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way to sum up this this webinar. It's definitely complicated, and it takes a lot of time to build something that is robust and it's working in the way that it served your business needs. And I'm sure that many of the people that join us today doesn't really have like enough knowledge to build something like that by themselves. So I would want to use the next 90 seconds to say a few words about iRiver and how it's involved by building, in case that I want to build my own multi-CDN. If you can tell us a little bit about this product and how it's work. Edward?
So 90 seconds, it's challenging. I will try to do my best. But basically, iRiver tried to build a multi-CDN as a service solution. We try to take all the challenges that part of them we described in this meeting, starting from the steering challenges with the accurate availability and performance monitoring for your traffic, via a unified management. iRiver allows you to manage all your CDNs through single user interface, single API. As a customer, your experience is that you're working with single system while underneath you leverages multiple edge providers. And on top of that, iRiver provides a collection of application services in the areas of security, traffic control, and edge computing, which operate consistently and optimal, even when the traffic is split among multiple edge providers, multiple CDNs. And you as a customer getting the benefits and easily adopt the multi-CDN strategy without the need to take care of all the complexity which coming with this kind of solution. And our goal is to allow to companies with smaller than Amazon, smaller than eBay, smaller than PayPal, to adopt this strategy, enjoy from the benefits without the need to invest significant resources to build it by themselves.
Thank you so much. So 2 words before we finish. First of all, as Edward mentioned, we do believe that that multi-CDN should be commoditized and available for everyone. We're currently working on a large piece of content, basically a playbook that shares all the knowledge in a highly detailed manner to how to build your own CDN. And very soon, when it will be ready, it will be shared on the website. Also, if you have any question regarding to build your own CDN, you can always book with us a demo, or you can go to the contact us page on the website and share any question that you have. We will be more than welcome to answer your question. You can also find us on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining us for this webinar, and hope to see you soon in the next one. Thank you so much, guys, and bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.